Day two, attraction. Okay, so this is the part where we talk about lead generation, attraction, engagement, nurturing, getting in front of the right people. Okay, now this is 1/3 of the model that we talked about yesterday, right? Remember, we talked about leads, sales, and delivery. So this is the leads part. This is where we're talking about applying that offer, community, and interest to actually get in front of people to be able to enroll them. So in today's training, I am going to cover the biggest mistakes coaches make when they're trying to generate consistent leads. I'm going to go over the 3 myths of lead generation. I think there's more than 3, but I'm going to cover the 3 big ones and what you actually need to do to generate 5 to 10 leads a week consistently and organically. I'm going to cover the 4 scalable lead generation models for coaches in 2024 and how to use them. And then our comfort crushing challenge is going to be a social media hack to get you your first few high-paying clients and to book consultations right after this workshop within the next 24 hours. Okay, so excited to learn this stuff? If you're excited to learn this stuff, just type in the chat, I'm ready to learn. This is going to be getting leads. I'm ready. Beth's ready. Nate's ready. Kerr's ready. All right. Jennifer, say, hey, Jennifer, did you get your Amazon card by chance? You received that okay? I want to make sure she got it. Check your email because it was sent out yesterday. So make sure you check your email. It was sent out yesterday afternoon. So went to that email that you gave us. So we'll double check with that. Okay. So a little context. I want you to type in the chat, how much time have you spent becoming an expert in your space? So that could be getting degrees, that could be work and life experience. Like, how much time have you spent developing your expertise and readiness to actually coach? Just type in the chat so we can see. 20 years for Jennifer. Wow. Nate, over 8 years. 27 years for Asim. Hope I'm saying your name right. 27 years, 8 years. So you see, like, over 20 years for Melissa. This is a long time. That's like decades of experience being built. Now answer this question. How much time have you spent mastering online marketing and sales? How much time have you spent mastering, online marketing and sales, studying it, learning it? Very little for Melissa. Thank you for your honesty. Little. Try to quantify it a little bit, trying to figure it out for the last 2 or 3 months, not much at all. So, like, if you're like, let's use this example. Let's say you want to be a professional swimmer. How do you become a professional swimmer? Well, you've got to start swimming, obviously, and you got to practice, right? You got to start putting hours in. Now, if you're swimming and developing your skills, but you don't have anyone to point out what you're doing right or wrong, it's going to really slow your progress, right? So this is what happens with marketing. It's not about just being consistent. It's about doing the right things, because you can be learning and marketing, but you could be doing the wrong things. So consistent and predictable lead generation is one of the hardest things to do in business, not because it's complex, but because oftentimes we don't know how. So just because you haven't learned what works doesn't mean that you've got the skills missing. It just means you have to learn the right stuff. It doesn't mean you don't have the skill to do it. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to do it. You just don't know yet. So if you want to become that good swimmer, you need to get the practice in doing stuff, but you also need to get the coaching. You need to get the feedback, because if that swimmer just learns to move their hips a little bit differently or change their hand position, it's going to make a huge difference. And the same is true in marketing. So as you're marketing, you just could be going down the wrong paths. And we see this a lot with coaches. So to have a successful coaching business, you need 2 things. You need coaching expertise and you need business expertise. And I would argue you need to be a business owner first and a coach second, because if you're not a business owner, you'll never get the opportunity to coach. If you don't develop the business expertise, you'll never have the opportunity to actually coach. When I had my martial arts schools back in my 20s, when I started them, one of my mentors told me, he said, if you don't have a consistent flow of students coming in your school, you're not a martial arts teacher. You're a martial arts practitioner. There's a difference, right? There's a lot of coaches out there that are really practitioners in their field, not coaches, because you need clients to actually truly be a master coach. So without the business expertise, the lead generation and marketing and the sales skills, you just don't get that opportunity. Okay. So you need to be a business owner first. All right. Little context. So if you want a 20 to 30K a month coaching business, it's literally impossible until you master this. Okay. So without consistent leads, your business is going to be this roller coaster of ups and downs, and inevitably it'll fizzle out or even crash when you can't bring in people. So predictable certainty in lead generation is the lifeblood of any business. Like if you know how many leads you can generate next month, and then you know how many, what your conversion rate is, you can predict your income. You can actually control your income. So this is the first time in history where the tools exist for business to actually control how much income they make by mastering that, what we call the front of funnel, where people come in first in contact with you. So if you master what works, you change all of that. So our clients generate 5 to 10 client leads a week initially without spending any money on advertising. That's when they're first starting out. So this is Miles. He's a social media coach. So he was trying to get his business up for a couple of years, never making more than a couple of $100 a month. And when he started with us, he was getting 5 to 10 consultations a week and ended up having his first 5-figure week in the first 8 weeks of working with us. Because once you have the predictable flow, you can actually dial it up. You can amplify it and you can control it as to how many leads you get or how many you don't get. Now, you'll get warm people, warm market people that know, love, and trust you and are ready to commit. So when you're actually doing this the right way, you're connecting with the right audience. So I want to just reiterate that to be clear. It's not just about getting leads. There's a million companies out there that will fill your inbox with unqualified people that do not want what you have. That's not what you want. You want less of high quality leads that are ready to actually work with you. What you want is what we call the lead generation faucet. So a predictable flow that you can turn up and turn down as you need. Okay. So I want you to think about this. In the past month, how many qualified like sales consultation calls have you had? So type it in the chat. How many qualified sales consultations have you had in the past month? None for Asim. None. Jennifer. 2 for Nate. So you see how difficult it is to build a business. It doesn't matter how good you are with coaching, and I'm not diminishing the importance of the skills that you have, but if no one knows you exist and you're not getting the opportunity to speak to people that need your help, all of that 20, 30 years of expertise is lost. So most coaches starting out have a clogged pipeline at best, so they're not getting any leads coming in, or they might have an unpredictable trickle of 1 or 2 a month. And when you think of the ones they're getting to, how qualified are they? Are they actually ready to change their life? Are they the right fit for you? Going back to yesterday's training about making sure you're speaking to the right people. So think about this. How many clients would you need to hit your business goals? Just type in the chat right now. Like, how many clients do you think you'd need to hit your business goals? 2 to 5 a month, or seem 10, 20. So let's use Jennifer's number of 10. So if you need 10 clients per month and you're enrolling 1 out of every 4 people you speak to, that means you need to speak to 40 people a month. And if you're getting 0 to 2 leads a month right now, there's a long way off. So we need to change those ratios. We need to change the math here so it works a lot better. Okay. All right. So what are the biggest lead mistakes, continued lead gen mistakes? What we really want is we want a consistent system that produces results. We want a process that gets us qualified buyers, not just tire kickers or people looking for advice. And we want to do it in a way that's not pitchy or salesy. So the biggest mistakes that coaches make in the beginning is spending money on things that don't actually produce leads. So what I'm talking about is spending money on things that are branding marketing versus direct response marketing. So these are things like websites, podcasts, blogs, logos. Has anyone built a website here before they've made like if you're not making 6 figures, and I'm going to assume most of the people on this call are not already at 6 figures. Has anyone built a website and they're not yet making money? Okay. So at HIC, we built our website after we were at the 7-figure level. So we didn't even have a website, and we were doing in excess of 7 figures a year before we built it. So these branding exercises, they keep us busy and they feel good as coaches because we can look at our logo and we can design the site. But websites, right strategy, wrong decade. If you were back in the 1990s, websites actually could act as direct response marketing. People actually searched for websites and could come into contact. Right now, there's about 250,000 new websites, I think, produced every day. No one's out there finding your website to come to you. Okay. So direct response marketing on social media is how to get in front of your audience the fastest way. So you don't, if you've already bought a website, don't feel bad. Okay. It happens all the time. So you can maybe repurpose it later, but if as you've already likely discovered, it's not bringing you clients. Okay. So spending money on ads before they're ready. So how many people here have done paid advertising, like a Facebook paid advertising or Instagram or Google AdWords or YouTube ads? How many have done that? Google ads for a SEAM, right? So here's the challenge with paid advertising. I'm not against paid advertising, don't get me wrong, but think of it this way. What happens when you pour gasoline on a pile of sticks? What happens when you pour gasoline on a pile of sticks? Comment in the chat. They get wet. That's right. Thanks, Jennifer. You get a wet pile of sticks. You have to first have fire, and then if you pour gasoline on that fire, it's gonna blow up. It's gonna amplify. So when you're starting out, your marketing to do paid advertising when you're starting out is pouring gasoline on a dry pile of sticks. It's not going to do anything. Instead, you want to take the approach of organic connection, of intimacy over authority. Okay. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you wake up one morning and your bathroom's overflowing, the pipe bursts, and you turn the water off, you kind of shut it down, you got to get to work, and you're heading to work, and on the way to work, you see a big billboard, and it says, Joe's Plumbing, America's Plumber, 1-800, dot, 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 dot. And you're like scrambled writing down the number. Okay, I'll have to call Joe's America's Plumber when I get to work. So you stop at a coffee shop on the way in, and you're in line for coffee, and you start chatting with someone in line, someone you don't even know, and you're telling them about your day and how your bathroom's overflowing in the morning. It's a terrible start to the day. And then this person in line, this random stranger, says, "You know what? You should call Jane. Jane's Plumbing. She's local in the area here. I had her come to my place. She's amazing. Let me give you her number." And she gives you the number. Who are you going to call? You're going to call America's Joe's Plumber that spent $5,000 a week on a billboard? Or are you going to call this random person, Jane, that you don't even know? You're probably going to call Jane because there was an intimate connection of sorts that built more trust in the process. Okay. So that's just an example of how intimacy can be. And if you can strategically do that in your marketing, which we teach our clients to do, that's what brings you really qualified leads. Okay, so it's just a different approach. So a lot of coaches don't know how to or where to focus. So it's not that they don't want to do marketing, they just don't know where to start. And then there's that fear of judgment, lack of clarity in what you're doing. You know, if you had a new restaurant, you know, if you didn't have, you can have the best chef in the world, you can have the best decor, but if no one knows you exist and you don't have a way to reach people that would be good clients in your restaurant, you would not do very well. So you have to understand the whole piece here as you're moving forward. I think most coaches, it's not that they're afraid to do marketing. I think most coaches don't know how, and they don't know where to start, and they're afraid to make mistakes, and they're afraid to look foolish, and they're afraid of being judged for sure. But once you have the right strategy, I've seen most coaches do extremely well with organic marketing, because organic marketing is aligned with coaching. It's rooted in personal relationship, connection, and trust. And that's what coaching is. The problem with a lot of the paid advertising, like funnels and ads and that, they're okay if you're selling commodities or services, but they're not designed to be aligned with coaching philosophy. So that's why the organic is so much better for our coaches. All right, we actually teach 21 different ways for our clients to market their coaching business. And only 3 of those, the 3 that are highlighted, are paid strategies. So 18 of them are completely organic. And the reason we have so many different strategies is because not every strategy will work for every coach. So just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So we help customize for our clients the ones that are going to work for them. Okay. You should not be paying money for advertising until you're already at that 10, 20, 30K a month level. Okay. So hopefully that puts in context the difference between paid and organic in terms of where you should be starting. So paid or organic, how many of you guys are going to focus on that moving forward? Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to do organic or are you going to do paid? Let's comment in the chat. Organic. Good. So, and now you can do paid at any time, because once you get the organic working, you can just advertise. You can use advertising to amplify what's working. All right. So I'm going to share with you now how to do this. Okay. So these are the 4 scalable lead generation models that we've seen. Now, they're called the influencer, the collaborator, the hustler, and the prodigal. Now, with these models, and I say that these are the only 4 models we've seen work. I'm not saying there's not more models out there. Maybe there are, but these are the only 4 that I've seen work in basically 8, 9 years in the industry. So these definitely will get you to that level. So in our model, our clients using these models, 85% of them get to that 6-figure level within 12 months. The average income is 22K a month. The top 20% are over the 60K a month level. Okay. And we've helped over 40 clients get to that 7-figure, again, using one or a combination of these models. So let's start with the first one, the influencer. Okay. So a lot of you guys have heard about this. Now, here's the interesting thing. Only about 15% of coaches that we see are able to build a successful business using this model. So contrary to what influencers may tell you, only 1 out of 6 are actually successful doing it. So how you do it is you put out influencer level content. That is content that is produced in such a way that it has viral appeal, right? And you grow a following based on the content you're creating and the algorithms, understanding how those work. And then you use CTAs, which call to action to get people to actually book calls with you. So the benefits of this model is it's great to get people coming to you, and you become the authority to many. The traffic is free because your content is free, so it's attracting your traffic organically, and it's building an asset that actually is more valuable as you grow. Now, the difficulties is not everyone can be an influencer. If you think about it, if we all were influencers, like who would we be influencing, right? So not everyone can be an influencer. It takes time to build that audience and skill set, and you're always at the whim of the algorithm. So it's always good to have a secondary scalable model if you're going to choose the influencer one. So one of our friends, he had over 300,000 followers and a $2 million business on Instagram. Overnight, Instagram changed their algorithm, and he literally lost half of his engagement. And because of that, he lost half his business. So he went from a $2 million business to a $1 million business overnight because Instagram shifted things up. So if you don't own the platform can change at any time, and that can change your influence and your success. So these are things you should be aware of when you go down the influencer path. So this is Uriel, one of our clients. She uses the influencer model. She's a health coach. She started working at Whole Foods. Actually, when she was when she was working with us, she was working at Whole Foods to be able to get discounts on quality food for her family. So we got her to 10K a month in about 3 months, and we built a 10K following in that time using the influencer strategies. She now has a 30 to 40K a month with call to action to application process. And she only works 2 to 3 days a week right now, traveling with her family. Who'd like that business model? Work 2 to 3 days, 30 to 40K a month with 10,000 followers and just posting viral content. Yeah. So Uriel's just one. We have a lot of clients that follow this model, but she's definitely been very successful with it. And the interesting thing about Uriel is she followed our plan of like building the life she wanted and make the business work within it. Most people out there build the business and then try to fit their life in it. So Uriel came about it from the right angle. Okay. All right. So implementation. Now, the toughest part of the influencer model is actually putting content that is good enough to and to be consistent and good enough to test what's working. So it takes time, it takes consistency and patience and practice, and you need to keep up with the algorithm. So the way you do this is you start with a content calendar, and now so you plan your content separately from creation of the content. So I'm going to give you the actual tactic here that you can do this. So we teach our clients to leverage AI like ChatGPT to create the content as well. So it takes about 3 to 5 hours following our strategy to put together content for about 6 months. So that saves you hundreds of hours of content creation time. Now, obviously, when you're using ChatGPT, you're going to have to vet what's coming out of that to make sure that it's accurate, and about 50% of what it produces is questionable. So the tool gets things moving quickly, but you still have to vet it. But it's the strategy that's important. So I'm going to share with you the strategy right now to do this. So I want you to start with, what are 3 to 5, well, you can just write down one for the purpose of today, but what's one of the high-level categories of your offer? So for example, at High Impact Coaching, our like high-level offers, high-level categories of our offer are: we help with leads, we help with sales, we help with delivery, we help with entrepreneurial mindset. So that would be like 4 things that we do at High Impact Coaching. If you're a health coach, maybe it's movement, nutrition, behavioral, and habit change. If you're a career coach, maybe it's clarity, confidence, communication, and tactical skills. So write down right now 1 or 2 like high-level categories of your offer. Okay. Now, once you've got that done, you can type them in the chat too, so I know that people are still awake. Okay. Entrepreneurial mindset. Thank you, Asim. Clarity, empowerment to action. Thank you, Maxine. Productivity and content. Great. Okay. So once you've got those 1 or 2 things, here's what I want you to do. In each of those categories, I want you to create 5 contrarian ideas or beliefs. So I'll give you an example. At High Impact Coaching, our 5 for contrarian ideas would be: leads. You don't need a website until you're making 7 figures. When I said that earlier, how many people kind of paid attention, or kind of like it shook your belief about what you thought needed to happen? It was a contrarian idea, and contrarian ideas get people's attention, right? So in sales, it's harder to sell a $300 program than a $3,000 program. Delivery, certifications can actually hurt your coaching business. Can you see how these ideas are like going to get people to engage and be attentive to? In nutrition, you need to eat more to lose weight. In career, you don't need a resume to land your dream job. So these contrarian ideas are the opposites of what people are normally thinking and normally believe to be true. Okay, so type right now in the chat, give me some contrarian ideas for one of your high-level categories that you have. Or take a stab at it if you're not sure. Someone wants that Amazon gift card, I know it. Productivity, embrace being a procrastinator. I love it. Embrace being a procrastinator. Progress happens without action. Ooh, that's definitely a contrarian idea. That's awesome. So I think you guys are getting it, right? It's all personal. Nothing is just business. Yeah. Okay. It's so see how like most people say it's not personal when you're saying it's all personal, right? So these are good. I think you guys are getting it. Okay, cool. Okay. So let's move on. Now, you've got your 5 categories, right? And now you've got 5 contrarian ideas for each category. So that's 25 pieces of content. Now there's 4 different ways to teach it, or to deliver it, I should say. So that's 100 pieces of content. So in the implementation, we're going to go through the 4 different, so you can teach that contrarian idea, like that's the how-to, the data, the facts, the statistics. This is the part that actually coaches do really well. 90% of coaches put out teachable content. They're teaching all the time. These are the 5 ways to do this. These are the 3 things I see in this. These are 2 ways you can, they're always teaching. But there's 3 other ways. You can inspire with a personal story or client stories. You can engage your audience with polls, questions, surveys to get their feedback. Like, do you believe, I could do a survey question. I could do a post. Do you believe you need a website when you're starting your coaching business? And I'll get people engaging. Yes, you do. No, you don't. How do you get people to reach you otherwise? Blah, 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 blah. Like, people will engage, right? So engaging is another way to position these contrarian ideas. Offer, take an action to message you, like ask them to reach out, ask them to comment below. So when you're creating your content, I want you to think of it as more chocolate, less spinach, right? So you most of the time we're putting a lot of spinach out because we like to teach and we're doing what's good for people, but people like chocolate, right? So you want to make sure the balance is right. So you think of like taking a grade 10 statistics class or watching the Disney movie Moana. I think both of them provide value and teach us stuff. But which would you rather do? Sit through a 2.5 hour statistics class or watch 2.5 hours of Moana? Which would you rather do? Right? So you'd probably rather watch the Disney movie. At least if it's every week that you're doing something like this, there's only so much statistics you can actually take in, right? So as coaches and producing content, we want to learn how to build the business in a way that appeals to our audience. We'll have lots of time to coach them. We'll have lots of time to give them spinach, right? But we don't want our marketing to be all spinach. We want our marketing to start the conversations and to be engaging. So teaching's good, but more chocolate, less spinach will help them be engaged, inspired, and reaching out to you. Okay, so that's the influencer model. Now, before we move into the next model, the collaborator, what's your biggest takeaway from that? From the influencer model? What's your biggest takeaway? Or anyone here thinks that model is for them, the influencer model? It doesn't take long to create it. It takes long to perfect it, to actually master it, to learn the algorithms, to test the market. So you're right. Like creation, it doesn't once you're clear on what you're doing, Kara, once you actually know the strategy you're following and you have the offer dialed in, you're right. It doesn't take long to create, but it will take time to actually build the audience. It takes time to build those relationships, right? Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the collaborator model. So here's how this, and again, this model, we have clients that have worked this to enormous success, but it only works for about 1 out of 6 coaches. So this is good for coaches that have been a little farther along perhaps in their coaching journey, so they have good credibility and relationships already. But you're going to partner with influencers. You're going to partner with other influencers with audiences similar to yours and create joint venture partnerships. So what this does is it brings value to other people's audiences. So you go on and do a live, podcast or training or a webinar or something like that. And then from that exposure to that other person's audience, you will gain clients. And then you can pay a referral fee to that other influencer for that. So benefits of this is you get to leverage the know, love, and trust factor of other people's audiences. They already trust the person they're following. So trust is the name of the game. So this can be much faster than trying to grow your own influencer audiences if you can partner with someone that has an audience already. Now, the difficulties is building relationships with influential people. Like you actually have to bring some value. This is their audience. They're going to be protective of their audience. They're not just going to let anyone come in and do a webinar to them. So oftentimes you'll find that the best influencers are former clients of yours that have their own, following an audience that then they already know the value of you, so they will bring you and allow you to speak to their audience. So you end up having 2 businesses almost. You have your avatar, the people that you're helping with your coaching, and then you have your joint venture partners that you actually have to market to as well. So it gets a little more complex. And then you're always on other people's timeline. It's not your audience, so you don't control it. You can be planning to do a webinar for 2 months or 3 months, and then a week out, they say, yeah, it's not going to work this time. I'll get back to you in a few months. So, you're not in full control of the process, which can be frustrating. Now, once you get it dialed in, though, it works incredibly well. This is Logan Elliott. He helps freelancers grow their business, like scale their business up. So he was just starting out. He was making about 2 or 3K a month when he started with us, and he was doing a lot of the traditional, marketing efforts. We introduced him to the collaborator model. We doubled down on his sales, price, and positioning with a joint venture strategy. So his strategy now is a partner webinar that he does, and he uses the hustler strategy on follow-up, which I'll get to in a minute. So we helped get him to 20 to 30K a month in about 4 months. He's now he's over 50K a month now, and he literally travels to a different country every month. That's his lifestyle. He goes to lives in a different country every month and making 50K a month using the joint venture model. That's Logan Elliott. You can check him out if you want on Instagram. But who'd like that life of living in a different country every month? And it wouldn't be for me, I think, at this stage of my life, but maybe it is for some. Yeah, Nate like to live in a different country every month. Jennifer wants to. Okay. All right. And for those of you that are married, make sure you tell your partner that you're going to do this before you book the flight. So, okay. So here's how it works with the collaborator. Here's how you actually implement it. You want to start with people you know that have an audience. So again, the best partner would be someone that has seen the value of what you do, maybe even experienced it firsthand. And then you want to find out how you can bring value to them, whether it's online or in person. Okay. So I'll use the example of one of our clients, Christy. So Christy was a nutritionist, and we got her set up with a joint venture model. So what Christy would do is she would do workshops at CrossFit gyms on how proper nutrition can prevent you from having injuries. Okay. Now, this was a win-win. I think there's 4 wins in there. So it's a win for the CrossFit gym, because what do most CrossFit gyms hate? When people get injured. Why do they hate that? Well, they don't like people getting injured, but it also means people stop paying. So they don't want their members to be getting injured. It's a win for the participants, because who wants to get injured, right? People want to stay healthy. And it's a win for Christy, because she would do these workshops and then have her follow-up strategy, and the people at the workshop would end up becoming clients. So it worked in person. It worked so well in person, she started doing it online. So now she does the same thing, but instead of having to physically go to CrossFit gyms, she does these workshops remotely over Zoom and has the same process. Okay. So it's best if you have experience with their service, or they have experience with your service, not for free either. It's best if they've paid for your service, so they understand and believe in what you do. And then you want to give a 10 to 15% referral bonus. So depending on your price point, our clients are charging, 3, 5, 8K. So you're probably, referring back somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 and $750. Let's say like on a 5K offer. And as I mentioned, the best collaborators are usually past clients. Okay. Now, before we move on to the hustler model, you guys with the collaborator model, do you want to type in the chat? Do you have any questions about that model? Is there anything that you want to ask about it? It is a more, I would say, it's not really advanced. It's just, I think you have to be coaching for a little bit to have the credibility. Now that could change if you know people that have audiences that are familiar with you. But if you're not ready for it now, I want you to have it on your radar, because as your coaching business takes root, the opportunity for joint ventures and collaborations expand. Like in our private community of coaches, these are all clients that have graduated from our programs or are actively doing our programs. We have over 1,200 coaches in that private community. We have joint ventures and collaboration projects going all the time, because it's win-win-win, right? It's a win for each of the clients, and it's a win for the actual participants as well. Okay, let's move into the hustler model. So this is where we see over 70%, I would say it's maybe even be closer to 80% of new coaches getting wins, right? So this works even if you don't have an audience or you're starting out or you're brand new. So how it works is you're going to create a community, you're going to post content, and you're going to build relationships. And you're simply going to ask people if they want help. So it's similar to the influencer model, but the content doesn't have to be viral. Like content's a big part of all models, but it doesn't have to be that viral influencer level content. It just has to be consistent and have the right messaging. So this is going to leverage that intimacy over authority. So this is Jane the plumber versus America's plumber, right? And you don't need that influencer level content. So you can do this on IG, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook groups. You're going to leverage that intimacy, as I say, and you don't have to spend money on ads. It's just be willing to do the work, because you're going to have to put some time into this model. So the benefits is you don't need a lot of skills to get started with this. The strategy we can lay out for you very easily. The investment is zero because it's just, well, it's your time. It's an investment of time. I shouldn't say zero. It's a monetary zero, but it's an investment of your time. And you can get up and running really quickly. So we see clients, 30 to 60 days on average enrolling from the Hustler model. And it can be as quick as 24 hours, depending on your existing status of connections. So the difficulties with this model is facing your own fears and discomfort. It takes effort, it takes practice, and you have to build your communication skills. So what I hear a lot is the I don't wanna mindset, right? I don't want to post content. I don't want to go on Instagram. I don't want to be in messaging with people. And that's fine. You don't have to. But what's the alternative? Like if you're going to spend hours and hours doing something, wouldn't you rather it be to build something you really want? Because you're going to spend hours and hours doing something anyway. It's probably going to be in a job you don't want to do. So think of the alternative. The coaching industry is changing, and it's changed a lot, even in the last couple of years. I can't believe the changes I've seen in the last, 7, 8 years online with coaching. So things that used to work simply don't work or don't work as well anymore. And there's more people than ever before that want to move into coaching. So it will come down to who wants to do the work. You will be outworked if you're not willing to step up and lead. So I want to be really straight with everyone on this, because there are too many people out there that want to do this without working, and they're going to fail. They just simply will. So if you can face your fears and you can put yourself out there and you're willing to put the work in and roll your sleeves up, you will stand out in the field. All right. So this is Angie. Angie, she was the corporate professional at Tesla. She worked in HR. She turned career coach. She left Tesla and she went into the executive coaching space for 2 years. She had 0 clients and she was ready to give up and go back to corporate. She started working with us. We tightened up her sales and taught her the Hustler method on LinkedIn. And she made her first 30K in 60 days. And she had 50K a month within 4 months. But Angie, she came from like a corporate background. She was not a stranger to putting hours in and putting time in. She was willing to do the work. And once she got to that level, she was able to hire a team and build it out in a different way. But in the first 30, 60 days, she went in and did the work. And that's something I don't think maybe is said enough in this space. I will tell you that it's hard work. Like you have to put the work in, and it's not always going to be easy, but the back end result is this stuff really works, and you can get to this level, and you can get there if you can get there quickly. But I don't want to mislead anyone that it's going to be Mai Tais on the beach, right? You're going to have to, with this model, you're going to have to put the time in to do it. But if you have the right strategy and you have the right support, you'll get these kinds of results. Okay, so the implementation steps for this one is picking the right platform. Okay, so you with our model, this isn't about being omnipresent. When you're doing the Hustler model, you're not going to try to be on 5 different platforms. Okay, you're going to pick one. We're going to help you pick one platform. Has anyone ever tried to learn like 3 languages at once, like learn Spanish, German, and Japanese at the same time? It's pretty hard, right? If you ever tried to do that, I haven't, so I don't know why I use that analogy, but anyway, but that's like social media. It's like a different language on every platform. So you only have so much time, energy, and resources for this. We're going to get you on one platform, the right platform for your audience and offer. Then you're going to have a content plan and you're going to start the posting. Now, the difference is you're not going to wait to do call to actions. You're going to actually open up personal conversations with people in your community that are engaging with you and build connection. And over time, you're going to find out about their problems. You're going to focus on the relationships and the intimacy. And then you're going to ask them to work with you to solve those problems. So, picking your platform is part of the process. So I want to run through quickly with you the different pros and cons of each of the platforms. So Instagram, great for most audiences, less professional, but pros it still works for professionals. But for life coaches, fitness and health, relationship coaches, career coaches, men's coaches, anxiety coaches, for those types of offers, Instagram is great. Short attention spans and it moves quickly. So people can become clients within 48 to 72 hours of first finding out that you exist with the right strategy. You can generally and pretty easily generate 5 to 10 calls a week from IG, and you can scale that to 30 plus a week once you get the systems dialed in. So Instagram is solid for that. Facebook, it's great for slightly older audiences, so like moms, entrepreneurs, health and wellness as well, weight loss, and any like support group type of offer. It moves a little slower, so the engagement is not as rapid fire as IG. So it can take like a week or two to actually get clients conversion. And 5 to 10 calls a week again in the beginning, and that can scale up to 20 plus a week once you get the systems dialed in. TikTok, great for the influencer model. Like we had one client that generated 76 consultation calls from one video. Okay, so it's great for that influencer or like viral content. So, but good for specific audiences, sometimes not so good for others. So we see it working very well with health and wellness, life coaching, chiro, personal training, and business coaching. Hyper short attention spans on TikTok. So you really do need to focus on that viral level content. And 1 to 2 calls a week without viral content, upwards of 10 to 20 calls a week when you get your content dialed in. And then LinkedIn, great for professional audiences. Okay, so the average income level on LinkedIn is about 70K a year. So you're dealing with professional audiences. So if you're in the executive coaching space, career coaching, and even weight loss for executives like that, we've seen some of our weight loss offers do very well on LinkedIn. It does require strong authority. So LinkedIn people look for credentials, they look for credibility, they look for experience, right? So you do need strong authority, and you need to show that you're a professional on LinkedIn. And it takes time and energy to build because you're building relationships organically, right? So in 5 to 8 calls a week is steadily, but really high quality prospects. So it's worth the time invested. Okay. So post in the chat right now, which platform do you think would work for you? Which platform are you considering? LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn. Excellent. TikTok, LinkedIn. Perfect. Lots of LinkedIn. Excellent. So lots of professionals. Good. Yeah. So, and again, like, that was another contrarian idea that I just dropped. Did anyone catch the contrarian idea that I said? See if anyone was picked up on it. Because I gave you another contrarian idea as I was talking about the different platforms. Let's see if anyone picked it up. So what I said was you're only going to be on one platform. So if you guys see in the marketing right now, a lot of the messaging you see is, be omnipresent, be everywhere your clients are, be on YouTube, have a YouTube channel, have an Instagram account, have a Facebook group, have a TikTok channel. Like, it's too much, and it dilutes your messaging and it dilutes your focus. So we get you fired up on one platform, and that's where you stay until you're at 7 figures, and then you can actually expand it out after that. All right. So I'm going to share with you a strategy right now, because you don't want to feel salesy when you're asking people to book calls with you, right? Like no one wants to feel like icky and salesy. So would it be helpful if I gave you a tool so you don't appear salesy? If that's cool with you, just say yes in the chat, so I'll share it with you. Okay, this is an actual strategy, a tactic we share with our clients. So let's say you're having a conversation online with someone that has a problem, and you can help them with it. So I'll use health and wellness as an example because it's just really easy to use health and wellness as an example. So let's say I'm chatting with Tina, and she's been struggling to lose weight, and she's 20 or 30 pounds overweight. Okay, and we've just been chatting on my account, and so I'm going to reach out to her in a comment after we've been chatting for a bit, and I'm just going to ask her. We call this the if I would I, and the ask is going to go something like this. Hey Tina, it sounds like you're struggling with your weight, and you don't really know what to focus on. I'm just curious, if I set aside 15 minutes to hop on a quick call and dig a little deeper into what's going on, and talk about how to actually help solve this, and how I could help you, would you want to do that? Did that feel salesy to you guys? If I would, would you, right? Sounds like you're struggling. Sounds like you could use some help. If I opened up a little bit of time on my calendar, like 15 minutes, would you want to hop on to see if I could learn a little more what's going on and see if I could help, right? It's a very soft ask. And because you're only asking for 15 minutes, You're not saying, would you like to book a call with me for 60 minutes, right? Like that's a different level of authority you need to make that ask. This is the intimacy one. This is the beginning stage of this, right? So you can do this. I want you guys to craft out your own if I would I. And the next time or over the next couple of days, if you're chatting on on Facebook or in your IG account with someone and they sound like they have a problem, you can reach out and ask them. Okay. So last model here. How are we doing for time, Simone? We're getting, yeah, this we're going a little long here, but okay. Uh, okay, so the prodigal, we see 0% of people successful for this initially. Okay, now once you're at that seven-figure level, yes, this model does work. So this is the one funnel away mentality, like looking to strike gold with the funnel lotto. So people spend money on ads before proving the concept, before they have proof of concept that their offer works, that their audience wants it, all that stuff. They start running ads and funnels, and they're using all the marketing verbiage and all that different stuff. And like we've worked with dozens of successful entrepreneurs and experts, and we every time we make them start over with one of the other three, even when they come to us and they're doing 100K or 200K a month in their coaching business, we put them back to one of those other three, and then we can 3x, 5x their business with this model moving forward. Because this is, you need a fire for this model to work. Okay. And you can pour gas on the fire once you get it, but only after you're already generating consistent sales organically, right? So the prodigal is not one you're going to use in the beginning. This is the paid ads, the funnels, all the other paid marketing strategies that are out there. Okay. So, 50% of our seven-figure clients that we have do use ads to get across that seven-figure mark. But that's not where they started. And 50% of our seven-figure clients don't use ads at all, and they're over 100K a month. So you don't need to do this model. It does accelerate things. It does allow you to scale a little quicker. But the caveat is you need your proof of concept. You need your business model working first. So in the end, you'll always need to know how to hustle for leads. So we recommend you use the hustler model in addition to all the other any of the other models that you choose, because with influencer, the algorithm changes. With prodigal, the funnels break, and joint ventures will cancel or delay. So businesses that know how to hustle for leads will always be able to find a way. When I had my martial arts schools, which I opened in the late 90s, like we didn't have social media, and I'm sounding like a really old man. We didn't have social media back when I had a business, but we didn't. Like we didn't have even websites at that time. Like every month I needed 30 new students in my business. So we would make a list of 30 organic things that we would do in the community, in advertising to bring those clients in. So it required a lot of work. It required, my students standing outside of grocery stores with flyers. It required going to health shows and setting up booths. It required doing all kinds of like public demonstrations and stuff like that, like demos. And so we did a whole bunch of organic stuff to bring leads in. This is kind of like 2024. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that hard work, like putting in the effort, still works. And you don't need a whole bunch of money to do it. You don't need a whole bunch of fancy technology to do it. You need the right strategy. And the hustler model is the one to do it. So only after you make 200K. I don't think you have to wait that long. I think you want to be, Nate, good question. I think you want to be like 20, 30K minimum before I would look at paid advertising with the prodigal. You don't have to wait to 100K. What I was saying was when we have clients that come to us that are relying solely on the prodigal, we actually can double or triple their business by introducing one of the other three. So if we have a client that comes to us and they're doing 100K or 200K a month, some of our high level clients, and they're not using like a hustler model, or they're not using a joint venture or an influencer model, we'll get them to do that in addition to the paid advertising, the prodigal model, and that can double or triple their business. But starting out, focus on one of the other three first, and then bring the prodigal in later. Okay. All right. So those are the four models. So type in the chat. We've just finished all four. Who's going to be an influencer? Who's going to be a collaborator? Who's going to be a hustler? Who's going to be a prodigal? Hustler. It worked, Simone. I influenced them to be hustlers. I influenced them for a need. Okay, good. Right on. And you're not, it's not like you do one of these and that's your life for the rest of time. Like it is going to be a mix, Roxana. Uh, but we want to focus on one until we're consistently at that 20, 30K a month level before we start thinking of trying to do other things. And for most starting coaches, starting as the hustler is the best way and the most proven way to actually get there. Okay. Now remember, there's lots of different ways that we use to connect and reach out. And I'm going to share one with you right now. I'm going to give you guys an actual strategy that you can implement today that can get you calls booked for this week. Okay. So here we go. So this is called the puppy post. It's a warm market outreach and it's part of the hustler model. We've had clients build 40K a month businesses just from warm markets with these types of strategies. So with the puppy post, it can be posted once every 3 months or so. And it's based on the understanding that social media loves puppies, cats, and babies and wedding rings. Okay. Are you showing us your wedding ring? Oh, 5 minutes? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay. Well, we might go a little bit over. If anyone doesn't have a hard stop here, we're probably going to go over a little bit. So hang in there if you can. Okay. So I'll do as fast as I can here. So social media loves these things. So this is a non-salesy way to remind people in your circle about what it is that you're doing or starting to do. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab a dog, a cat, a baby, some kind of prop. And if it's not like your baby or dog, you can just ask permission before you take them into your possession. And then what you want to do is you're going to utilize the dog, cat, or baby in your post, because this is going to be a video. You're going to take a video with the dog, cat, or baby in it with you. And this is going to stop people from scrolling through their feed. And then you're going to follow this script. You're going to make it your own. Okay. So I'm going to take this little puppy a friend of mine has named Sasha. So I'm going to take this little puppy named Sasha, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to turn the camera on myself, and I'm going to say, hey, Cahal here. I'm here with Sasha, this wild and crazy puppy here. And I just wanted to say hi and answer a quick question that so many of my friends have been asking me recently. They keep saying, hey, well, what are you up to these days? Well, what's going on with you? And well, I'm still living in Victoria, in British Columbia, but there's been one big change. I recently started a coaching business to help people get launched as health, life, and career coaches. And that's going to help, and I want to help them cut through all the noise that's out there with marketing and all the misinformation. So I want to keep this short, but if you want to learn more, check it out. There's a link below, or you can DM me directly. Anyways, that's it. Just want to say, hey, and let you know what I'm up to. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions. I'll talk soon. I got to get back to hanging with my dog. Okay, with Sasha. So I'm going to post that as a video. And then as people engage, I can actually start to reach out to them. So that's the framework. Must be a video. If you want, you don't get the slides to these because we send the recordings out. But if you want to take a screenshot of this right now, just hold your phone up, take a screenshot, or if you're on your laptop, take a screenshot and then just customize it. Just make it your own. Okay.